Hello, and thanks for joining this webinar that is intended for new consultants. Yeah, let's just wait a minute for everyone to join, and then we'll start. And by the way, while we're waiting for everyone to join, can you just let me know where you're joining from? So city and the country. So I'm joining in from Zagreb, from Croatia. And yeah, if you can simply write in your question pane, in your Q&A pane here in Zoom, if you're joined through Zoom, or if you can write through a chat message in LinkedIn or YouTube, just to let me know where you're joining from. Okay, while we are waiting for your answers, just a couple of notes. So first of all, we are recording this webinar, and you'll be able to watch the recording basically from the same page where you registered for the webinar. So if you registered on Advisera website, then you'll be able to actually watch the recording on the same page where you registered. And if you join the webinar through YouTube or LinkedIn, then you can actually watch the recording on the very same page where you're watching this live webinar now. And second thing, you'll be able to download the presentation deck. And actually at the end of the webinar, I'll let you know where you can find the download link to download this presentation. Okay, good. I think everyone has joined, so let me then start the webinar. So welcome to the webinar, How to Start a Consultancy. And my name is Dejan Kosutic, and I'm the main cybersecurity and AI governance expert at Advisera. And Advisera is a company that makes compliance easy to understand and simple to use. And by the way, I also worked as a consultant in my previous career, and Advisera is dealing with lots of consultants, so we actually have, I would say, pretty good idea on what are the, let's say, pains and what are the opportunities for consultants. And by the way, this webinar will last somewhere around 50, maybe 60 minutes, and I'll try to make it as interactive as possible. So if you want to ask any questions, by all means, you can actually ask a question, and I'll try to answer this question as soon as you ask it. So you can actually send your questions during my presentation. You do not have to wait for this Q&A session at the end. Okay, I see some people joining the webinar, so actually letting me know where they're from. So some from Belgrade in Serbia. Okay, great. Thanks for letting me know. Great. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. So I would say, and actually let me show you first my screen with one poll that I actually posted a week ago. And basically the poll question was, what is the biggest challenge when starting a consultancy? And as you can see, there are something like 40 votes, and actually the biggest challenge here is getting first clients. Actually, this is something like 2/3 of the answers, and these other ones, like not having enough knowledge, pricing the service, they're less interesting. Now, let me go back to my presentation. So basically, I think most of the people that I've talked to actually think that starting a consultancy is, on one hand, I would say, very attractive because, of course, you can have your own business, your own, I would say, lifestyle. But on the other hand, it's very hard. It's very hard to find clients, but also very hard to do lots of things that are needed to actually have a successful consultancy. And what I'll show you in this webinar today are basically the steps. You'll see there are 12 steps that you actually have to go through to actually become a successful consultant. And this webinar today is intended basically for any consultants or potential consultants that are that are focusing on ISO standards or cybersecurity governance or AI governance. So basically, it's you will see that things that I will show are relevant for any of these types of consultancies. And yeah, one of my main points today is that, okay, finding clients is hard, not easy. I understand this, and this is certainly one of the biggest things that you actually have to focus on. But this is not the only thing, okay? There are a couple of things that you have to do to be actually able to find clients. Because it's not like, you simply go out and look for clients. You actually have to go through a couple of things that you have to do before. And once you do find clients, then you actually also have to do some very important steps afterwards. And I'll show you all of these things in the webinar today. Okay, so the agenda. Basically, I'll walk you very briefly through these most common mistakes that people make when starting a consultancy. But the most important part of the webinar is really these 12 steps actually for starting a consultancy, and you'll see that I actually divided them in 3 phases. And of course, we'll also go through this Q&A session, so question and answer session, where you can ask, where I'll simply answer some of your remaining questions if I don't have the time to answer them during my presentation. Okay, very well. Now let's see what are these most common mistakes. So basically, the first most common mistake is that people don't know actually how to match their specific experience, meaning professional experience, with market needs. And as you will see later on in these steps that I will show you, this is really about finding your niche. Because if you're trying, for example, let's say that you go for ISO 9001 consulting and you say, okay, I'm going to consult companies for 9001, but you're simply not focusing on a specific, let's say, market segments, then you're not going to succeed. I mean, there are tens of thousands of consultants for 9001 out there, and if you don't differentiate, if you're not somehow different from those consultants, then you're simply not going to succeed. And actually, this is because people, I mean, consultants, potential consultants, don't actually know how to match this specific experience that they have with a specific market need. And this is what I'll actually explain in more detail as I go through these steps later on. Okay, second most important or most common mistake is that consultants don't actually know where to find the know-how. Because you need to know how this is done, you need to learn this. And this is, very often something that people are not able to find. Okay, not finding clients, this is obviously an obvious one, so many people actually don't know how to do it. And also something that very often people are doing a mistake, they actually spend too much money on things that they don't need, and that is not contributing to their success as a consultant. So this is also very often a mistake. So they are starting to buy some fancy offices, furniture, these kind of things, and this is not really contributing to a success of a consultant. Anyway, I'll actually show you now these 3 phases and 12 steps actually, and through them you will see how to overcome these most common problems. So I would say that there are 3 phases of actually a successful consultancy, and as you can see, this phase number 2, finding clients. I mean, obviously this is one of the most important phases, but it actually sits in the middle. So this is not where you start. What you actually have to do before that, you actually have to do certain preparations that actually enable you to start selling successfully. Because successful selling of your consulting service depends on some things that you actually have to do before. And of course, I'll show you this these are actually steps 1 to 6. So steps 1 to 6 are this phase 1, and then you will see phase 2 are steps 7 and further. And of course, in phase 3, you actually have to deliver consulting jobs. This is obviously very important, because if you do a good job, then these clients will recommend you to other clients, whereas if you do a poor job, then you're simply not going to be able to find any new clients. So it's also a crucial, I would say, phase. So all of these phases, my point here is that all of these phases are equally important. It's not true that actually this phase about finding clients is the most important. No, it's actually equally important to these other 2 phases. Now, let's go to the main part, and this is really about these steps. So let's start with this phase number 1, preparation for the launch, and step 1 within this phase 1. So first of all, you should actually come up with some kind of a business plan for your consultancy. And when I say business plan, I don't mean let's say a detailed document with I don't know how many dozens of pages. What I mean is that you actually calculate your cash flow, because in the beginning you're not going to have lots of revenues. You're going to have these let's say costs, And I mean, costs of you know, simply having your internet connection of your, I don't know, laptop, of you know, travel costs, all of these kind of things. So you'll have to calculate those and actually calculate, you know, how much can you actually make it without any revenues? How much money, how much savings do you need to invest actually to cover your costs before you start making some revenue? So this kind of a cash flow projection or estimate is very important actually, because then you will know how much money you have to invest and how actually long can you go on without any revenues. And the thing is, with this cash flow, you can actually pretty much be very precise about the costs. Whereas for revenues, you're not so sure, right? So this is why this kind of a calculation is very important. And the second part here is that you actually control costs. And by the way, this is how to overcome this one of the biggest problems. So do not invest into, you know, office. Do not invest into, I don't know, fancy laptops. You know, for anything that actually does not contribute, I would say, to your success as a consultant. What you should be investing in, obviously, in your preparations, and one of those things is, I don't know, that you go for courses, for certifications, these kind of things. So investing in those things, yes, but not into things that are not actually contributing to what to you as a consultant. Okay, when it comes to legal setup, you basically should go for the cheapest option. So in some countries you have this sole proprietorship as the form of legal form of actually founding some kind of a small consultancy. But in any case, you should actually go for a legal form that is the cheapest one. You can always, so to say, upgrade your company to some different legal form later on, but first you have to focus on the lowest cost. So this is again crucial, that you're not spending too much money on these kind of things. You should also think about obtaining insurance, so something that is usually very helpful, and actually in some countries it's obligatory to have an insurance that basically protects you from potential litigation or obligations towards your clients. And what is kind of funny, but it's true, actually there is, in most countries, there is no license needed actually for you to perform a consulting activity. So you don't need some specific, I don't know, government licenses or anything like this to actually become a consultant. You simply say, okay, I'm a consultant, I'm offering consulting services, and basically this is it in most countries. Okay, as you will see, when I go through these 12 steps, I'll go through lots of details, and you're probably not going to kind of catch everything that I say, but there is actually a free course. It's called Beginner's Course for Consultants, and there you will see all of these details that I'm speaking about. You will see all of these things that I'm speaking about even in more detail. So we've sent you now through this chat window a link to this beginner's course for ISO cybersecurity and AI consultants, and you can actually see that this is a YouTube link, so you can actually go through all of these videos without any registration, without any payment. So it's a free course. Okay, and yeah, just to mention that if you joined the webinar through Zoom or through YouTube, then you can click this link and it will open right away in your browser. But if you joined the webinar through LinkedIn, then because of some limitations in LinkedIn, you actually can't click this link, but you can actually copy the URL, paste it into your browser, and the link will open there. Okay, now let's move on to this second step, and this is about choosing a niche. So first of all, what is a niche? Basically, it's I would say a smaller segment of the market that has some unique characteristics. And let me actually give you an example from my consulting career when I was a consultant, and this was already 20 years ago. And that at that time, actually, in my home country, the central bank actually started introducing very strict cybersecurity regulations for banks, and cybersecurity, like cybersecurity governance regulations. And back then, there were basically almost no consultants who actually had experience with cybersecurity governance and with the banking at the same time. So these kind of people were very rare. And I did have a background in banking. And of course, I started educating myself for ISO 27001, so the cybersecurity standard standard for cybersecurity governance. And then actually I connected these two things and I actually presented myself as someone who is specialized for cybersecurity governance in banking. Okay, so basically then I use these ISO 27001 to help banks comply with these new cybersecurity regulations. And luckily at that time there were not many competitors who actually had these kind of unique combination of these skills. So my point is, you should definitely find a niche which is on one hand attractive from the I would say from the demand point of view, and also that is actually a unique for your own skills, for your own prior experience in what you were doing before. So for you to actually find this niche, first you actually have to identify your strengths and expertise. And this is where you actually have to look back into your experience, what you were working in the past. Okay, I had this banking experience, I had experience with, I don't know, IT governance, these kind of things. But you might be actually, I don't know, working as let's say engineer in automotive industry, and in this case you have this specific experience about let's say production facilities or production processes for this kind of a specific industry. So this is what you actually have to start. You have to analyze this and then go from there. So this is your starting point. Then the next step is for you to analyze markets. So basically see what are the number of companies that are going for certification, what are the new regulations, what the competitors are doing, and then you actually have to identify what are some kind of underserved market segments. Okay, and then basically you actually have to choose a niche where you balance these things. So you balance actually your passion, your skills, your experience, market demand, and then you conclude actually what you want to focus on. Then you have to validate a niche because it's not like that you will find this niche so easily. So you have to start some smaller projects and actually test if this is really what the market demands. And then finally you actually have to position yourself within this niche. So you have to create this USP, and USP stands for unique selling proposition, or unique, I mean, you can also call it a unique value proposition. So you basically actually have to present yourself what is exactly so valuable about you that actually the clients will appreciate. So my USP back then, when I was a consultant, was basically that I'm practically the only guy in the market who understands both the banking and cybersecurity governance and can actually enable you to go through this process much more quickly than any of my competitors. Okay, I see a question from Jay. Would be some niche markets for ISO 27001 for current markets? Again, this depends on what your experience is. If you worked in, I don't know, let's say government agencies, then you can say, okay, I'm focusing on helping government agencies implement ISO 27001. So this depends on your specific experience, and you have to match it with the market demand. Okay, good. Now let me move on to the next step. This is about certification and training. So once you actually know what niche you want to focus on, then you have to obtain knowledge for that particular niche, for that particular standard. And of course, you can read books, go to conferences, attend webinars, watch videos, and so on. So there are various ways to obtain knowledge. But when it comes to courses, typically courses are the most important way for you to obtain knowledge. And there's these general business, I would say, oriented courses. And these business courses will, teach you how to use some tools, how to, I don't know, sell things, how to manage your finances. But other than these general business courses, you also have to go for these specific expert courses or courses that focus on your particular expertise. And if we speak about ISO standards, and when I say ISO standards, I mean ISO 27001, ISO 9001, ISO 42001, 14001, all kinds of standards, then you typically have these lead auditor and lead implementer courses. And these courses are, so you have, I don't know, ISO 27001 lead auditor course, ISO 27001 lead implementer course, these kind of things. I can actually show you how this looks like on our website, so just give me a second. So for example, here on Advisera page, you can actually see there are various lead auditor, lead implementer courses. So this one is for ISO 42001, ISO 42001 lead implementer, then DORA lead implementer, 27001 lead auditor, 14001 lead auditor, lead implementer, GDPR protection, data protection officer. And so, I mean, you get the picture how these courses look like. Of course, if you link any of these courses, then you will see details on about them. And we've sent you now actually the link to this page where you can open it, and then you can take a look at these courses. And by the way, the good thing is that these courses are free. So if you open any of these courses, you will see that there is a free sign up button, and you can actually go through all the lessons for free. And Advisera charges only if you go for the certification exam. So if you don't want the certification, you can go through all the lessons for free. Okay, then there are various cybersecurity courses. If you go in the direction of cybersecurity, like DORA, NIST, but also CISSP, CISM, these are all very, I would say, common courses. And also lately, AI is getting very popular. So for AI governance, you have ISO 42001. There's this also EU AI Act. And I assume that some courses around AI officer or AI governance will also, some other courses will become popular there. Okay, let's go to step number 4. This is where you actually have to obtain some tools and know-how. Because courses will, I would say, teach you up to a point, up to a certain point, but it will not give you a full, let's say, know-how. And of course, it will not give you the tools. And when you speak about tools, we typically speak about 3 different types of tools. One are templates, and these are basically the templates, for documents, for policies, procedures, and others. And let me share a screen again, so I'll show you now how this looks like in Advisera. So we have these toolkits for consultants, and basically you have here DORA documentation toolkit, NIST 27001, 9001, GDPR, and so on. So when I open, I don't know, NIST toolkit, then you will see actually that it gives you, all kinds of templates for that particular standard. And yeah, we've shared now the link with you through this chat window where you can take a look at details. Second type are these tools, and you have these collaboration tools, and collaboration tools are, let's say, task management tools. So this could be, I don't know, Asana or Notion, this kind of softwares, but you also have file management tools. So this could be Microsoft SharePoint, this could be, I don't know, Box or Dropbox. And you have these communication tools, and these are, I don't know, Zoom or Microsoft Teams, again, these kind of things. So basically, also Slack, of course, if you're using these messaging applications, this is also under communication. The point being is that whenever you start collaborating with the clients, you will need some of, I would say, most of these tools, again, for tasks, for files, and for communication. And then you have these operational tools. Operational tools are basically tools that actually help you perform your specific job for this specific standard, okay, for this specific framework. And typically you would have 3 types, or at least I would say 2 types of tools. One are these, I would say, GRC tools, so governance, risk, and compliance tools. That basically help you speed up the things around risk management, about the process of handling the whole implementation. And the second type of tools are these training tools or training platforms where you actually can help that actually help you deliver trainings, online trainings to your clients. So let me just briefly show you how this looks like in Advisera. So here I'm showing you this, it's called 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. And basically when I open any of these clients, then you can actually see that it offers you all the steps that you actually have to take. And I'm not going to show you this now, but there is this risk register, all the templates. So basically everything is part of this software. And there is this module which actually helps you as a consultant to handle a couple of clients at the same time. And there is also this training platform. It's called Company Training Academy. You can also white label it. So you can see here an example of a consultant logo, where you can actually use this lessons library. You can see actually here that there are almost 300 lessons, video lessons that actually that you can use for your clients. And just to show you, so there are videos around DORA, GDPR, cybersecurity awareness, 27001, 40, 2001 NIS2. And of course you can upload your own materials as well. Okay, going back to presentation. So this is about tools, and you also need to obtain know-how. And know-how is, I would say, more vague, but for example in Advisera we actually provide know-how to our consultant partners through one-on-one meetings with our experts, okay, but also of course through various courses and other materials. So the point is that whenever you start doing a consultancy, you should always find someone to turn to who can actually mentor you, or who can actually give you the idea on how to resolve particular problems. So basically this is what know-how is about. Okay, good. Now let's move on. Oh yeah, sorry. We'll send you the links actually to this 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 for consultants. Okay, we did this Company Training Academy. Okay, so we send you links to all of these tools so that you can see how they work, and you can always set up a free trial and actually see how these tools work. Okay, going to the step number 5, it's about basically packaging your consulting services. And basically you can go for these one-time services and continuous services. One time could be gap assessment, implementation projects, risk assessment, and so on. Whereas continuous ones are when you do actually a maintenance for your clients, where you do internal audits, where you do, I don't know, second party supplier audits, where you actually do security awareness, or vCISO service, where you actually act as a CISO for your clients. So basically it's, you actually have to choose what kind of services you will offer, because of course one-time services are one-time, whereas continuous actually give you continuous revenue. And you actually have to think about how to structure your packages. So you have to define clear deliverables. You have to define exactly what is the time needed, what are the boundaries, what are the limitations, and you have to communicate value of these consulting packages, presenting benefits, emphasizing outcomes, results, using simple language when presenting this, and so on. And by the way, we also have this advanced course for consultants on Advisera website, where you can actually, there is one lesson that actually explains how to create these continuous services. And you can actually see this link in the chat window now. So if you want to learn more about this particular continuous services, you can actually take a look at this advanced course. And it's also free, so this advanced course is free, as well as this beginner's course. Good. Now let's go for the step number 6. This is about setting the price, and basically you can choose between different pricing models. So you can choose hourly, you can choose for the whole project. So basically this is a fixed fee. You can simply have a retainer, which is usually done for continuous jobs. Or it could be outcome based, which is kind of, I would say, more risky, but it's also exists. And there are many factors that actually influence the pricing. It depends on your experience. Obviously, the more you are experienced, the higher the price you can charge. It depends on the market. The less consultants are there in a particular niche, actually the higher price you will achieve. The industry, usually financial industry, is paying typically more. And of course, perceived value. The more value you actually are able to present, the higher the price will be. And you could have these cost-based versus market-based versus value-based pricing. I don't really have time to go into all of these things, but I would say value-based pricing is certainly the best way to actually price your services, because this is where your margins will be the highest. And how to set initial rates when you start a consultancy. Actually, you should actually research the market and research what actually competitors are doing. So you should check their website. I mean, competitors' websites, sometimes they're quoting their price openly. You should check job sites like Upwork, but also 𝗪𝗏𝗏, Clarity FM. All of these job sites actually present experts and their prices. You can actually ask in some communities about the pricing. You can actually ask about it in Reddit, and you just actually might get someone to answer you what are the prices. You can actually check some industry reports like Gartner or IDC. And I mean, you can talk to some buyers if they're friendly. Basically they can tell you about the ranges of prices that they expect. And again, I know that I'm going through these things pretty quickly, but you can actually sign up for this beginners course that we were giving you the links in the beginning, where you can actually go through the whole course and see all of these things that I'm speaking about today in more depth, in more length. Okay, then actually we go now to this phase 2, and this is really where you find clients. And this is step number 7, is about finding your first client. So where you basically start from, and you start from defining this ideal customer profile, or ICP, and this is where you actually have to define what exactly would your ideal customer want and need, what are their pain points, so that you can actually create targeted messaging. So if they're, let's say, if you're targeting with your, I don't know, ISO 27001 small SaaS companies, then probably the biggest pain from them is that they don't have the resources, they don't have the know-how, they don't have the documents, and then you actually create your messages around these specific pain points and needs. And then you have to leverage your network. You simply go through your existing contacts, and then you ask them for introductions, for referrals towards your ideal customer profile. So you need to have exactly in mind what kind of ideal customers there are, so that you can ask your contacts actually to recommend them to these kind of potential clients. And one also method is that while you're still working for your old employer, before you actually start your consultancy business, is that you actually start looking for potential clients, so that you actually start working as a consultant. You already have clients that are signing up. Now, of course, you have to be very careful here not to hurt your existing employer in any way. So you have to do it at your free time, not during your working time where you're paid for something else. And you, of course, have to make sure that you are not in some kind of conflict of interest. And then you have these outreach methods. And this is typically either email or LinkedIn or a phone call. And when you actually start doing these things, you have to make these messages, I would say, compelling. So they have to be short. They have to be extremely personalized. You can't simply copy and paste the same message to everyone. And there needs to be a clear call to action, like, okay, you want to set up a call, or you want, I don't know, to send them maybe some further materials, these kind of things. And then you have to figure out, how to go beyond your first contacts, because of course you might have, I don't know, first contacts, maybe dozen, 2 dozen, 3 dozen people, but then you'll have to figure out what to do next. And then you can actually go for these sites like Upwork and then see who is looking for experts there. You can publish your name in directories like, actually we have one directory on Advisera where you can actually publish your name as a consultant. And you also can go to companies who actually generate demand for these kind of ISO standards, for example. There are many companies who are requiring their suppliers to be ISO certified. And then you can actually go to their purchasing department and present yourself as a consultant who is an expert in a particular niche, so that actually they can recommend you to their suppliers, so that you can actually find clients this way. You can also participate in professional groups, industry events, and find clients there. What I find is a very interesting channel to actually reach out to potential clients is this LinkedIn Sales Navigator. It's a paid service by LinkedIn, but what it enables you is first you can actually filter out various people by according to their specific, let's say, profile. So you can actually search for, I don't know, companies in a particular country, in a particular industry in that country, and then you can actually start searching for companies that are a particular size, and then particular person in this particular size of the company in that particular country. So you can very precisely pinpoint any basically person, any professional in the world, and then using this Sales Navigator, you can send them direct messages. Okay, so it enables you actually to send a certain number of messages directly. So it's actually a perfect way to reach out to potential customers. And of course, you need to figure out how you're going to follow up. So basically, how you're going to nurture your relationship long term, because very often you're not going to be able to sell them something right away. Yeah, we'll send you now also the link to this consultant director, so that you can take a look and see if you want to actually publish your name also on this directory. Okay, and then basically the next step is to start building your personal brand, because it's very hard actually to find directly each customer. I mean, to reach out to each customer. You actually want also customers to come to you. And if you want customers to come to you, then you will have to build your name. And first of all, you will have to define your expert identity. And this goes back to this first step, where you have to actually define the niche and be recognizable in that niche. And then you have to start building your website and LinkedIn profile based on these inputs. And you actually have to present yourself as the, let's say, main expert in that particular niche. And what is also very important, both for your website and for your LinkedIn, is a very good photo. So if you want to be kind of someone who, if you want to be considered as an expert, then believe me, you need to have a very good photo for the website and for your LinkedIn profile. And then, if you want to actually people to hear about you, then you have to start this so-called content marketing. And basically this means that you can start writing articles in some professional magazines, that you can publish a blog on your website. Then you can use social media, and this is primarily LinkedIn, for sharing about your own content, about your ideas, about your insights, and you can also participate in these industry forums. You can deliver webinars, you can actually deliver courses. And by the way, this delivering of courses is something that is basically a very good way for you to actually promote your name as an expert. And as I mentioned before, we have this advanced course for consultants, and there you will find a couple of lessons on how to build your LinkedIn profile, how to actually create videos for YouTube. So you can actually find these things in this advanced course. And then the next step beyond this content marketing is actually thought leadership. So this is actually something that is even further. And this is where you can actually, start speaking at conferences as a guest, as someone who is a guest speaker. You can start building your YouTube channel. You can actually participate in podcasts as a guest speaker. You might even start your own podcast. You might write a couple of books. So basically all of these methods are basically something that is I would say the kind of ultimate step to build your name as an expert. And it's always a question, of course, what kind of topics to find, but this is basically where you have to kind of feel what the audience needs, but actually it has to be related directly to your niche. And of course you need to present your specific knowledge about this niche and about this need that there is in the market. Okay, let's go to the step number 9, and this is basically where you actually present. So basically the steps number 7 and 8 are about getting prospects, about getting leads, but you still have to convert them into paying customers. And when you actually want to convert them, basically first of all you actually need to start with the very detailed research about the industry with this potential client and about the client itself. So basically the client, basically what kind of products or services they are selling, what kind of problems they may have, what kind of opportunities they have, what kind of competitors they have. All of these things you actually have to know upfront. And then you should try to organize this discovery call. So this discovery call is not a call where you're going to sell your services to them. Rather, this is where you actually have to understand their needs and pains. Okay, and this enables you to basically prepare for the main meeting where you will present your services. And this discovery call can be online, and basically this is something that will increase your chances of success at this main meeting. Anyway, at the main meeting, it's very important that you keep things simple and that you focus on 3 things: on presenting the problem, on presenting the solution, and the outcome or the results that the client will get. And besides this, you should also present the milestones. So basically how, what are the phases through which the product will run, what are exactly the benefits that the client will get. You should also clarify what kind of roles, so what actually you as a consultant can help them, but what they as a client also still have to do. And you will actually have to, I would say, enforce these trust elements. And basically trust elements are 3. First of all, it's why me, why you as a consultant. This is where you have to present your specific knowledge, your specific skills and references. That you have to present your industry knowledge so that you know very good about their industry that they're in. And of course that you have to present that you understand perfectly what their needs are. And basically, if you want to build trust, these are the 3 elements that are needed for you. Okay, and then just let me go back. Okay. So then the next step number 10 is actually to sign agreement. So once you convert a potential prospect into a customer, you have to sign an agreement. And very often the consultants are not thinking too much about it, but actually this is also a very important step. Why? First of all, you have to specify what kind of services and deliverables you will deliver. Equally important, you actually have to define what is excluded. Because if you do not present this, then a client might understand that you will also want to deliver something that is typically not included in the agreement. So, for example, let's say that you are doing a risk assessment for them, cybersecurity risk assessment, and then you actually help them with identifying assets and vulnerabilities and threats, but you as a consultant cannot decide for them what are the level of impact and likelihood. This is something that the client always needs to decide. So if you actually clarify these things as part of your agreement, then it will contribute not only for, I would say, easier delivery of your project, it will also contribute to a higher satisfaction from your client, because they will not be surprised or negatively surprised when you tell them that this was not included. So I mean, if this is not specified in the contract, you know, if you tell them this later on, then they will be negatively, then they might be negatively surprised. Of course, you will include in the agreement the methodology that you're using, specific milestones, roles and responsibilities, and also these acceptance criteria. Because if there are no acceptance criteria, then how would a client know if you did a good job? Okay. So what you could put as acceptance criteria is, for example, the speed of delivery of the documents, the speed of your answers, these kind of things, because then you will have something that is measurable, that actually you can show to your client later on that you're actually doing a good job. What you should typically not include as the acceptance criteria is that you're, I don't know, guaranteeing the certification for a company, because you can't really influence all of the factors that are needed for a company to get certified. So typically you would not put certification as a guarantee. Of course, you will include pricing and payments, and you will have to define things around security, privacy, and intellectual property. This is also something that should be part of the agreements. And then step number 11 is about really delivering these consulting jobs, and you will typically have three types of jobs. One are these implementation projects, where you actually help a company comply with certain standards. Training projects, where you will simply train their employees, and audit projects, where you're doing, let's say, internal audit or maybe supplier audit. And so basically actually what you could also do is any of these projects. These are preparing clients for certification. Again, I don't have really time to go through these types of projects, but if you actually click this link for this beginner's course, and we'll actually share this link again with you for this beginner's course on YouTube. So if you actually go through this course, you will see also lessons which focus on about delivering these implementation projects, training projects, and audit projects. Okay, good. Now let's move on to step number 12. This is about security, privacy, and intellectual property. Again, since we are already kind of late in this in the course, I'm not going to go through all the details here, but basically there are four aspects that you have to take care about. This is legal and regulatory, client-specific requirements regarding security and privacy and intellectual property. Then what you have to consider, what is ethical, and finally some technical or organizational measures. And these are all the things that you should actually keep in mind when organizing this. When actually delivering your jobs. Okay, let me briefly show you how these courses look like. So I'll show you very briefly on YouTube. So basically, when you click this link that we have sent you, you will see this page open on YouTube, and actually here you can actually see lessons 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and actually you can see all of these steps that I've shown you in this webinar today. So you can actually find all the details here. So for example, here you have how to run implementation projects, how to run training projects, audit projects. Here is a lesson about security, privacy, and intellectual property. And we've also sent you this link to this advanced course. This one is on Advisera website, and actually here in the curriculum you can see various lessons. So for example, creating consulting services with ongoing revenue. This is one here. Marketing and sales. Here you can actually see how you can use LinkedIn, YouTube. Delivering consulting jobs. Here you have some more advanced techniques, ethical, professional conduct, and so on. So many lessons here, and this is about managing change. Okay, so going back here to my presentation. So let me just conclude, and then to go for this Q&A session. I really cannot promise you that by following these 12 steps that each and every one of you is going to be a successful consultant. But I know that if you do follow these steps, you'll certainly have much higher chances to succeed rather than if you follow only on one of these steps. So let's say that you focus only on, I don't know, sales, or that you focus only on, I don't know, earning certificates. It's not going to be enough. So you actually have to focus on all of these 12 things if you want to be a successful consultant. And again, for that purpose, you can take these courses, this beginner's course, maybe this advanced course, and see how this is. Learn in more details about it. Okay, there is also this page which is called Consultants Where to Start. This is on Advisera website, where you can actually see kind of the most important articles and resources for consultants. So you can also take a look at this. And we also share now a link with you for our partner manager. So actually, our partner manager can set up a call with you, and then he can actually explain you what kind of Advisera products would be the best fit for you as a consultant. So you'll see also this meeting link in the chat window now. Okay, good. Yeah, let me now go for the Q&A session, and please send me any questions that you have through this chat window if you are on YouTube or LinkedIn, and also if you are on Zoom, you can actually send it through this Q&A window. And before actually I go for answering your questions, let me just go through a couple of notes. So first of all, feel free to actually reach out to me directly if you need through email, and you'll see my email address on the screen now. And second, you can actually follow me on my YouTube and LinkedIn profiles. So on LinkedIn, I regularly publish some useful tips and also articles that I find about cybersecurity governance and AI governance on the internet. And on YouTube, I published lots of videos on how to implement various standards. So if you want to learn through this video format, then you can actually take a look at my YouTube profile. All right, I think this is it. So let me see the questions. Okay, I see a question here from Jay. Where do we find all these times where do we find times to create all of these videos? That's a very good question. So I think this is very important I think it's very important, especially for our clients and for our partners to find a way to actually learn in a good way. And this is why I always dedicate a part of my working week actually in creating this kind of material. So roughly I'm spending something like 30, maybe 40% of my time actually in creating these kind of educational materials. Okay, yeah, let me see if there are any other questions coming in. Okay, if there are no questions, I hope I didn't scare you too much with all of these things. But in any case, yeah, you can, I've really kind of rushed through all of these 12 steps in this webinar today. But, to learn in a more, I would say, easier pace, you can take a look at these videos, course videos. Anyway, then let me wrap up the webinar. So as I mentioned, this 1 hour webinar was really too short to go into details of everything that you have to do as a consultant. But again, you can take a look at these courses, and in about 10 minutes we'll publish the PDF presentation deck, and we'll actually publish a link where you can download it, and if you're on LinkedIn or YouTube, then you will find these links for downloading this presentation deck basically on the same page where you're watching where you're watching this live webinar now. So you simply leave the page open and then go to this comment section in about 10 minutes, and you'll be able to see this download link there. And we'll also publish there in the comments all the links that we shared today throughout this webinar. So you can simply, if you didn't manage to open them before, you will see them later on in this comment section. If you joined the webinar through Zoom, then we will send you all of these links through email, and you will get this email latest by tomorrow morning. And finally, you'll also see a short survey. It's very short, only 3 questions. So, and you know, I'll appreciate if you could answer it, because it will give me feedback on what I have to improve in this webinar. And this would be all. Thank you very much for your participation, and I hope you have enjoyed this webinar.